Hi everyone, I'm Nadia, and in today's video I'm making resin tea light candle holders with real and fake flowers. I recently made a video creating these candle holders and received several questions if these can be made with fake flowers as well, so I'll be doing just that. I already added a small layer of clear resin to allow some space at the top of the molds, and this layer has already hardened. I did get an air bubble, so I'll be using a pointed stick to pop it. These are some fake flowers and leaves that I'll be using to add in more vibrant colors. And these are the real dried flowers I'll be using. And for my resin, I'll be using Craft Resin, which is a 1:1 ratio by volume. I measure out equal parts and then mix them together for several minutes. I'll have a discount code linked in my description if you want to give them a try. After mixing, I allow the resin to sit for about 10 minutes so that all of the air bubbles rise to the top of the cup. Then, using a torch gun, I carefully pop those bubbles. Then I start to pour my resin into my molds. I again very carefully try to pop any air bubbles that have risen to the top. Then I can start adding in my flowers. I have a box of real flowers next to me that I'll be starting off with, and then I'll be adding in my fake ones as well. I drop the flowers into the mold and then use a wooden stick to help move them around. I find that this is the easiest way to place them where you want them. Then I add in my fake flowers and leaves. When I first started working with fake flowers and resin, my main concern is that they would cause a lot of air bubbles. I think that this is very dependent on the material that they're made with, though in general I haven't encountered too many problems with air bubbles while working with fake flowers. Especially if you're working on a project like this where you're adding in layers of resin, the air bubbles tend to be minimal. If you do want to take extra precaution, you could add an extra step by sealing your fake flowers with a layer of Mod Podge. Though as I previously said, I don't find this extra step to be necessary. Once I'm happy with my first layer and placement of flowers, I allow it to harden and come back the next day to mix up my resin once more. Again, I'm using Craft Resin and I follow the same steps as I previously did. After popping the air bubbles that have risen to the top of the cup, I pour into my molds. And again, I add a combination of my real and fake flowers. When a mold is as deep as this, you want to pay attention to how much resin you can pour in one go. Pouring too much resin in one shot will cause your resin to heat up way too much and can completely ruin your flowers and your project. If you want to be able to pour more resin into your project, you should look into a deep pour resin, and Craft Resin has one available on their website. I'll leave linked in my description as well. But because I am using their standard epoxy resin and I am trying to cast flowers into a specific spot, I'm doing this in many layers, so the process is quite repetitive. I poured in my resin once more. Now I added a large dried rose into one of the molds, and I'm gonna let it set into place, and then when I come back the next day, I'll remove some of it so that it's not peeking out over the mold. Because this process is repetitive, as I mentioned, I'm going to speed through most of it so that I don't bore you guys too much. And here I am demolding. These molds are a little difficult to demold, but it's worth the end product. And here's the final product. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Follow me on my Instagram, Summer Girl Designs, and my mom's Instagram, Wild Heart Resin Art.